In the modern game, football waits for no one. New talents always emerge, systems evolve, and players either adapt or they fall behind. And in the chaos of transitions, few stories are as quietly compelling and as quietly crucial as that of Stefan Bajčetić. Still, just 20 years of age, Bajčetić has already walked a path many seasoned pros would envy, from breaking through at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp to being tested in Austria and then lighting up La Liga with Las Palmas. This is the player who has consistently defied the expectations. But as Liverpool go into next season as Premier League champions under Arne Slot, a critical question does linger. Where exactly does Bajčetić fit into this tactical revolution? And with interest from across Europe, is his long-term future really at Anfield? This ain't just a story about a loan spell. It's about development, about identity, about a young man who could define Liverpool's midfield for the next decade, or he could just become another player, and there's the alternative, he could just become a star elsewhere. So in this video, we'll break down Bajčetić's journey so far, analyze his performances in Austria and Spain, explore his tactical fit under Arne Slot, and assess what the future does actually hold for him at Liverpool or beyond. Stefan Bajčetić's journey began in Liverpool's youth academy, where he quickly marked himself as one of the brightest defensive talents. As I mentioned, born in 2004, the Spaniard joined Liverpool's setup with a reputation of technical skill, intelligence on the ball, and a composed defensive mindset, unusual for a teenager at that time. From a young age, Bajčetić showed remarkable maturity. Unlike many players his age, he wasn't just about physicality or raw energy. His game was defined by his understanding of space, anticipation, and precise passing. These attributes made him a natural fit for a role either as defensive midfielder, shielding the back line, could even slot in at centre-back, capable of initiating build-up play. Liverpool's coaching team recognised these qualities early on. His performances with the youth teams, including the under-18s and the under-23s, were consistent and impressive, often standing out in matches for his calmness under pressure and ability to break up opposition attacks cleanly. But despite all the promise, he picked up a groin injury which left him out for the remainder of that season, and the club knew by the time he came back that his development required senior regular football, experience that simply couldn't be replicated in the under-23s. So, for the 23-24 season, Liverpool made the strategic decision to loan him to RB Salzburg, a club renowned for developing young talent and competing at a high European level. RB Salzburg's style closely mirrored Liverpool's tactical approach at the time under Jurgen Klopp, which is a high-pressing, fast-paced, possession-based game that demands intelligence, energy, and a little bit of technical ability from midfielders and defenders alike. With former assistant manager Pep Lijnders also joining Salzburg as the new manager, Liverpool thought that this would be a match made in heaven. Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out that way, but at Salzburg, Bajčetić was exposed to the rigours of the Austrian Bundesliga and UEFA Champions League, testing him against seasoned professionals and continental opponents. And despite not playing as many games as he would have probably have liked, he did appear 19 times for Salzburg before, of course, moving on loan again to Las Palmas. But he did show he could quite handle this step up. His ability to read the game and break passing lanes was crucial to Salzburg's pressing system. Moreover, his calm distribution helped maintain team shape at times and launch quick counter-attacks. Beyond the stats, coaches and analysts praised his tactical adaptability. Salzburg's system required midfielders to cover quite a lot of ground, shift positions fluidly, and maintain pressing triggers, all of which Bajčetić executed with maturity and consistency. The loan spell was quite vital in giving Bajčetić the confidence to believe he could actually compete at high professional level. It wasn't just about the minutes on the pitch, it was about stepping into a demanding environment, learning new tactical disciplines, and building mental toughness, especially coming back from such a long injury. For Liverpool, I guess they looked at this as an experience, which was a key part for his long-term plan. Try and nurture a player who could possibly eventually fit seamlessly into the evolving demands of their first team manager, especially new manager Arne Slot. Following his loan spell at RB Salzburg, where Pep Linders had already been sacked, Liverpool decided that it would be best if he did move on loan to another team to gain that much needed playing time he needed for his development, and that was in the shape of Las Palmas in La Liga for the remainder of the 24-25 season. Now, this loan move represented a different kind of challenge for Stefan Bajčetić. He would be competing week in, week out in La Liga, one of the world's most demanding and technically advanced leagues, but he would be in a league in a country that he was familiar with, so hopefully this would do him the world of good. Now, as we know, La Liga tests players in a unique way. It's not just about physicality or pace. It's a cerebral league that emphasizes tactical intelligence, technical skill, and quick decision-making under pressure. For Bajčetić, this was an opportunity to prove himself against some of the best midfielders and forwards on the planet. Now, throughout the remainder of the season, Bajčetić became a fixture in Las Palmas' starting 11, playing in 14 La Liga matches. His ability to operate both as a defensive midfielder and occasionally as a centre-back gave the team flexibility, allowing the coach to utilise his strengths depending on the opposition and the game plan. One of Bajčetić's standout attributes at Las Palmas was his positional discipline. In matches against elite teams, notably Atletico Madrid or Barcelona, he was often tasked with shadowing dangerous playmakers and breaking up intricate passing moves. Despite his young age, Bajčetić showed remarkable composure. Rarely being rushed into mistakes, his calmness on the ball helped Las Palmas transition from defence to attack quickly, often initiating counterattacks with incisive passes. Defensively, Bajčetić's stats were actually quite impressive. He regularly ranked among Las Palmas' top players for tackles won and interceptions, underlying his ability to read the game and disrupt opponents' rhythm. In addition, his passing accuracy consistently hovered above 80%, a key metric in La Liga where maintaining possession and controlling tempo is very, very critical. The Spanish press took note of Bajčetić's contribution, often highlighting him as a revelation in Las Palmas' midfield. Fans would always admire work rate, tactical awareness and maturity, leading some of them to call him one of the best young midfielders to grace the club in recent years. This loan spell for Bajčetić was more than just valuable minutes. It was a full immersion in a league where tactical nuances and technical excellence are paramount. Bajčetić did adapt quite well, proving he could hold his own even when faced with the likes of Barcelona's creative maestros or Atletico's physical midfield battlers. And perhaps equally important was the growth in his leadership on the pitch. Especially for a side struggling in La Liga, Bajčetić began to take on more responsibility, helping to organise defensive lines and guiding his teammates during high-pressure situations. The Las Palmas experience not only owned his defensive skills, but also his mental toughness and the ability to handle the intense scrutiny that comes with playing top-flight football. With Arne Slot in charge of Liverpool now winning the Premier League in his first season, Liverpool's midfield entered a new tactical era, one that was built on fluidity, structure and technical precision. So I guess the question is, how does Stefan Bajčetić fit into this picture? Slot does prefer to play with a double pivot in build-up and vertical midfield rotations, systems that rely on intelligence and press resistance. Bajčetić, with his calmness under pressure and ability to scan before receiving the ball, is naturally suited to this kind of setup. Bajčetić isn't a traditional destroyer, more of a tempo setter with bite. Slot could see him as a rotational option alongside Alexis McAllister for Ryan Gravenberch, or potentially even in a more advanced role if needed. His adaptability is a major asset in a squad that demands versatility. I guess the only question really is his physicality. Can he continue to match the Premier League's intensity week in, week out, like he did once before under Jurgen Klopp? Slot's trust in young players might suggest he could potentially get a chance. As Bajčetić's profile has grown, so too has the interest from across Europe. There have been reports that he has scouts from Spain and Germany and even Premier League clubs who are watching very, very closely as to what Liverpool are going to do with him this summer. Clubs seem to be drawn not just to his technique and tactical versatility, but to his maturity, the kind that comes from surviving 2 loan spells in radically different football cultures. Whether shielding the back line at Salzburg or trying to dictate the tempo in La Liga, Bajčetić has shown he can adapt, learn, and potentially even lead in the future. But this isn't really about interest. This is about what comes next, because Liverpool will find themselves at a crossroad, and Bajčetić is currently on that road. Arne Slot is crafting a Liverpool side rooted in tactical intelligence and fluid midfield structures. Bajčetić, with his positional flexibility and composure under pressure, does feel like a natural fit. But the current Liverpool midfield is already crowded. McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Endo are all in there. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones are all vying for a position, and even young Trey and Yoni. So the pathway isn't as straightforward. So what are the options? I mean, you could do a third loan, this time to a top level club in the Champions League or Europa League environment, could keep his momentum going. Potential permanent move, only of course if the offer is too good to refuse and the destination guarantees elite development with a buyback clause. Could Slot bring him back into the fold as a rotational piece for players like McAllister or Ryan Gravenberch, can play in the cup games, in the FA Cups, and potentially some Champions League games next season? That's a good way to potentially nurture, but is that going to give him enough time to be able to continue developing at the club if he's constantly sitting on the bench? Ultimately, it's going to come down to timing, opportunity, and vision. Bajčetić wants to play, Slot wants adaptable, hardworking talent, and Liverpool, as ever, wants smart business. The next few weeks will shape everything, because whether it's at Anfield or elsewhere, one thing is certain: Stefan Bajčetić isn't just one for the future anymore. He seems to be ready now. But as always, guys, let me know your thoughts on the matter at hand in the comment section. Do you want Stefan Bajčetić to stay or go? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.